So welcome back to Atomic Construction, the podcast with Kyle and Kevin. We talk all things Kyle's brand today. If you don't know IPM, the influential project manager, if you're not subscribed to his newsletter and you're in the field of leadership and construction, you are missing out. So he talks about his book. Super cool. I hope you guys enjoy it. So can I ask you about the whole process of making a book, or you just want to talk about the content of the book?
Yeah, you can ask me anything, man.
All right, cool. Well then, so I would like to write a book someday. So tell me, you have a book, The 7 Archetypes. Tell us all about it.
So I actually have a book. My book's called No Bullshit Project. It's a project manager's guide to successful project leadership. And in that book is the core framework of that book. The core message is that construction projects really rarely go as planned, right? And I think you know that. Even the mainstream knows that, which is funny. It's funny when my wife or my neighbor knows that, oh yeah, construction is going, oh, that's going to take longer than planned. Oh, they said that's going to, even people not in the industry know that, which is pretty funny, right?
Probably not the best look for us, as those of us that are passionate about, we probably want we want that to not be true. Carry on.
Exactly. Like when you order a car, there's a lot more certainty of okay, I'm going to get my car on time. It says it's going to be delivered in June. Yeah, it's not perfect, but you have a lot more certainty, at least the mainstream does too in that process, which we'll talk about that eventually. But yeah, No Bullshit Project, the book, that was a framework. What that was based on was a framework that helped me develop in my career over the last 10 years, leading teams and building projects, right? So it's based on 7 key behavioral types, or hats, as people call them. A lot of business owners, project managers, we wear a lot of hats. You've heard that saying a lot, right? And what that ultimately means is that you got to act like different characters, right? So what an archetype is, and I call it the 7 archetypes of successful project management. An archetype is really essentially just a behavioral model or an example that we can all relate to, and we'd understand their characteristics, their actions, their behaviors. And probably typical one we all know is the hero. We can all imagine in our minds very easily what the hero archetype would be, right? He strives for justice. He values courage, probably leads the pack, right? We can all understand that's the typical hero model. Same with the villain, in movies. So it took that and applied it to project management, because sometimes it's hard for us to grasp all the different hats we need to wear, all the different moves we need to make, and the roles we need to play on our jobs to keep them safe, keep them profitable, and keep them on track. So that's what brought the 7 archetypes. I'll list them real quick. The 7 archetypes are the communicator, the enforcer, the builder, the leader, the attorney, the accountant, and the business developer. So you probably see yourself or hear yourself in a few of those. Others you might not. The point is that if you're looking at this visually, kind of like in a pie chart, right? If you had the max, on a scale of 1 to 10, your builder archetype was a 1, you'd be able to fill in none of that slice of pie. If you were a 10 builder, you'd fill that in. So visually, you can kind of see, if you were to think about your skills in each one of these archetypes, you can kind of see where you're strong and where you're weak.
There's an assessment? You have a means by which you can, so everybody, got it. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
So where you're naturally best, or where your strengths are, type thing, what you naturally are or are not?
Exactly. Where you need to work. And the idea is, the goal is to kind of make yourself a well-rounded individual, or make sure your project has coverage in all these behaviors. So I've seen it a lot used with, you'll pair a superintendent and a project manager that kind of complement each other, right? Between the 2 of these people or 3 of these people, whoever, just the main leaders on the project, they cover all the behaviors, even if, say I'm not that great of a business developer, but my superintendent can tell great stories and really build these deep relationships on our project. Well, that's going to be key, right? Or if I'm not a good communicator, but I'm a really good builder, I need somebody to fill in those holes that can scale communication and turn all this unorganized information into something actionable.
Yeah. And I'll just it's super interesting. Two thoughts come to mind. Like the partnership in the military is the same, like the project manager versus super combination is kind of how the military set up senior enlisted versus officer. So there's I think there's something to that as I've found in the company as well. Like, be interesting to study. I actually intend to run this study of all the great businesses. I think there's always a right hand and a left hand, the Disneys of the world, Ron and Walt, and then the Fords, all of that. Like, I think there's always the dreamer and then there's always the builder. So I don't know. Interesting. Carry on, sir.
Yeah. And I'm excited for listeners because everyone I tell this framework to, they immediately get something out of it. It's like, it's the quickest way you can raise your stock price as a project manager, project leader. Because as I got into this and over the last year, I've kind of unpacked, I've understood that most of our frameworks, our systems, the leadership in our industry, it's all built to break. We operate on this model that, we're just managing three things, scope, time, and money, which, we are managing those. But if those are the only three things you're thinking about in the world, these projects don't last. I mean, they can't handle variation that the construction industry withstands. Every project, kind of like what we were talking about at the beginning, every project is a prototype. It's its own unique thing. It's the one thing. That's why you have more predictability in your car coming in June when you're ordering a car, it's going to get manufactured in a controlled environment. You have a lot more predictability in that system than building, a custom building in the middle of wherever, Colorado, right? And you got to fly materials and people in from all corners of the world to get there. So we need a wide range of behaviors and skills to be able to manage the process.
Let's boil this down. So I read the book. So let's take me here. You said people get excited. I want to make sure that we get the application because I'm not a smart guy. So understand there's all sorts of assessments, right? So we got the Myers-Briggs, we've got DISC, we've got any number. And then this is a more applicable direct to project management. So I take the assessment. I understand my strengths and my weaknesses. And then I understand what I need to build out in my team or what I need to be acknowledging in blind spots or give me the application of where this is you said you raised the number one thing we can do to raise our stock as project managers. Well, tell me how that looks in practice.
Well, this is the behavioral, this is the roadmap. It's not only an assessment, it's also a roadmap to becoming a successful project manager. And maybe we can just start unpacking each one because it gives you the answers of what you should be focused on. And then to take it a step further, I talk about the systems, the best practices that feed each archetype. For example, the communicator, let's just start with that one. The communicator is built on three pillars, and that's precision. Messages are delivered with exact clarity. They're leaving no room for confusion. They're just crystal clear, structured, gives what the reader, the listener, the audience, whoever it is, what they need. So they know exactly what's going on and what the next steps are going to be. 2 is situational awareness. That is being aware of yourself, being aware of other people, understanding let's just say you mentioned DISC, understanding your DISC profile, understanding your teammates' DISC profile or whoever you're working with on that project. It's an example. I'm more of a direct person, more of a dominant personality. So I like things quick. I like information quick. I know that about myself. But my teammate, maybe my assistant project manager or superintendent, he's more of a social guy. He's more of a talker. He's more of an influential person. He likes to talk about things, have a meeting, talk it out. I don't need to do that. But you know what? I might flex a little bit and lean a little his way so that I can build a better relationship and align with that person better, right? An estimator who I might need to get something done with has a much more reserved and supportive personality. They don't like to be in the line of fire, right? They don't like to make big decisions. So I'm going to be aware of that, and I'm going to fine tune my communication to be what's best for that person. And third piece for that is alignment. So the communicator is always trying to seek alignment throughout, up and down the project, up and down the company. Projects are built by thousands of people coming across different media channels. The key is getting everyone singing the same song. And so the communicator has those skills to do that. Yeah, part of my course, which I am developing, that it gives you systems and tools to use that can help you become a better communicator. They're in the book too.
There you go. As part of your curriculum, is there any one-to-one aspect, or it's all going to be the program? Obviously, you're a busy guy running a bunch of work. Like if somebody wanted to hire you as a let's take me. This almost happened, right? It's like, hey, I've got like 6 project managers that like could really use some hands-on training. So can we bring you out? Like, how do you, or that's not baked out yet?
Yes, you can. Right now, no, but after my second child comes, yes. Yeah, you can. I do, you can do consulting, training sessions, all that stuff in person. Yes, there will be an online community aspect that comes out of this. Is being developed and we'll probably roll that out in the next 3 to 4 months. But yeah, there'll be a community thing where there'll be like weekly calls, monthly calls, and also a community can interact with other people working on these same skills.
Nice. That's awesome. All right. Second archetype, communicator down. Where do we go next?
I think you'll like this one, the enforcer. I think you got a little enforcer in you. But yeah, that is what it sounds like. It's the person who sets and enforces clear expectations and holds other people accountable. They get things done through holding others accountable. So the main one we would know in the day-to-day world would be the cop, a policeman, right? He's out there taking the law that's public to everybody and enforcing it to the public. So if you're going the speed limit, if you're going 15 miles over the speed limit, well, you're not meeting the standard. So the cop's going to pull you over and write you a ticket, right? In our world, it's a little different. We have a lot different things to enforce. So we have safety standards. We have a safety plan. We have timeliness to show up. What you leave the job site looking like after you do your work. You clean up. You organized. Did you show up on time? Did you do all the things that we needed to do to be successful? Did you install work quality? Because if you have an underperformer, you're going to need to enforce standards or have a conversation with them when they're not meeting standards or when they're not showing up on time or not getting what you need, right? Because we do things through other people. That's the enforcer. Basically, the 3 pillars of that. Number 1, training and coaching is a lot of training and coaching of setting the clear standard. Number 2 is accountability, making sure people follow through with their commitments. And number 3, building a culture of excellence. So that's building a culture where excellence and championship mindset is the norm. And if you're not going to get with that program, then we need to have a conversation.
Wait, hold on. Before we go any farther, where are you on this spectrum? I feel like I should have taken the assessment. Can you be 100% in all?
If you're 100% in all, I mean, you're a beast. You're dang good. Yeah. I mean, that's not the goal. The goal is to strive to get to 100% in all. For me, when I first took this 5 years ago, I was far from that. So the way I scored it, I'll explain this real quick. A score from like 0 to 50 would mean like you're in a fragile state. You're basically, if anything comes and happens, you're basically, that project's going to break. 50 to 100 is a robust score. So that means, yeah, you can withstand some change, some variation, but you're probably not going to get better from it. 100 plus, you're built for variation, you're built for uncertainty, and that project's going to succeed no matter what happens. it's going to get through. And so when I first started this, I was fragile. And then I built myself up over a period of 5 years to get to a more anti-fragile position.
And what is, and I'm sure that, well, I guess, I'm sure this explains it when you go take the test, but what is, so 100 is anti-fragile, 50 to 100 is?
There's 3 ranks: fragile, robust, anti-fragile.
And what is the, and I don't know how many have been put out there, but what's the like typical distribution, right? So if you got 7 archetypes, you're taking a test, is it normally people show up and they're super, like you're robust in half of, you know what I mean? Or is there a typical, like, is there, for somebody that's taken this from you, like I'm a drastic guy, so I anticipate that I'll do really well. I'll be anti-fragile in 2, and then I'll be like really fragile in all of the rest. That's what I would anticipate. So is there any like normal, like, or do you guys benchmark kind of like what you want to see? And I know you said it's like, it's an evolving thing, right? You're trying to take the test and then evolve yourself into a more anti-fragile state. Is that how?
Yeah. It's a tool to give you a snapshot of where you're at and what you can work on. Most people find themselves usually one strength, and then a whole lot of weakness. A lot of it's because just people are doing things the wrong way, or thinking about things the wrong way. And so some of these skills that they haven't even thought of working on, like the enforcer, usually people are just so low in that. Same with the attorney. They don't know how to protect their risk. Business development was one for me was really low. It's like your sales skills and your charisma.
That's awesome. Next one.
Yeah. 3rd is the builder. That archetype's just like basically your seasoned superintendent, as you can imagine, like that crusty old superintendent that's been on the job site forever. Amazing builder, amazing problem solver. So 3 pillars there is technical knowledge, a deep domain of technical experience with everything revolving the code, building codes, regulations, all the various trade skills, problem solving. That's number 1. 2 is scheduling and planning. The builder's incredible scheduler and planner. They can build big production plans the right way. They can get all the trades working together efficiently and collaboratively through really good planning. And 3 is lean thinking. So that's the incorporation, the application of lean construction methods and tools, constantly focusing on minimizing waste, optimizing workflows, and maximizing value. So that's the builder.
Something tells me that's a natural strength of yours.
That's I wouldn't say natural, but that is something that I worked really hard on over the years. For sure.
Yeah. All right, the builder. What's next?
4th is the leader. Okay, this one's a big one.
We need. I've been thinking this whole time. I'm like, we're gonna have to do this with leadership. I feel like leadership needs its own book.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the leader. So the 3 pillars of the leader. Number 1, extreme ownership. Right, you can grasp that. That's taking full responsibility of every outcome. Okay, no excuses, no one to blame. That's
Jocko
number 1.
Give him the credit.
That's right,
Jocko.
Our boy Jocko. He's the man. Team ability. Building high trust teams through putting yourself behind the team, putting the team above personal gain. So building a cohesive team, high trust, and putting the team first starts with you. Number 3 is and then the last one, emotional strength. So emotional intelligence, the ability to stay calm, stay composed, and be able to make decisions under pressure. So those are the big 3 for the leader.
you and I are writing a leadership book. I'm saying it right now. I'm gonna go write a sales book to complement your project management book, and then I think everything's leadership, which we'll get to later. But all right, sweet. So we got the builder. I feel like builder. What do we got? Communicator, leader, enforcer, leader, builder. Did I miss one?
And now we're on 5.
5. Okay.
We're on 5. The attorney.
Oh, F this. But right out of the gates, F them all. Like F the attorney and F the insurance guys. I can't stand them. Not the right answer, but that's where I stand.
Yeah. Well, you need to become a little attorney. Get a little attorney in you.
I need to. It's true. It's a weakness.
Yeah.
Carry on.
This business, everyone in this business is brought together through one thing. You know what that is? It's a contract, right?
It's so funny.
So you got to understand these things. You got to understand you're in a contract with the GC. You contract out other things. We're all glued together via contracts. So you got to know them. So the attorney, 3 pillars: risk intelligence. So they know their risk. They know how to identify it, label it, classify it, and mitigate it before this becomes a bigger problem. 2 is negotiation. So excellent negotiation skills. Knows how to negotiate an agreement, contract, terms, conditions, and knows how to balance risk through that and for opportunity as well. 3 is compliance. That is keeping your project compliant with everything, all the safety standards, legal standards, regulatory requirements, all these things. There's a ton of stuff that we got to keep everything in check and make sure that all the forms are filled out right, your documentation's straight. You know, if OSHA were to show up on your site or there would be an accident, when shit hits the fan, people are going to look under the hood and, you know, hopefully your stuff's tight. So the attorney makes sure that's taken care of. So they can boil down all the jargon in these contracts, and I can present it to the plumber in a way that he can understand, keep him out of trouble, keep me out of trouble, right? So that's the attorney. Number 6 is the accountant.
This would be my second least favorite, probably.
This is, you're going to be low in these categories.
Yeah, insurance would have fallen under the attorney. Like, I mean, I know that's not a perfect.
Insurance would fall under the attorney. Yep.
Yeah, good to go. Yeah, that's
risk.
These would be my 2 least favorite.
Yeah, the accountant. Man, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. You might need to look into this.
No, I want to be very clear. I'm not celebrating my deficiency here. I'm just acknowledging it as a weakness, not a strength by any means. But all right, carry on. Yeah, tell us about the accountant.
So in what we do, we have millions of dollars coming across our desks as project managers, project leaders, owners, whatever, in the construction industry. These projects usually aren't cheap, right? So we manage big budgets. So we got to be proficient with money. We got to know financial literacy, right? So 3 pillars of the accountant. Number 1, cash flow, the skill, behaviors, the ability to manage accounts payable, accounts receivable, your liquidity, making sure your project's liquid, it's properly funded. You're not the one funding your project. You know, the owner's funding their own project. That's really good. That's a good thing, right? It's different. You know, a lot of people are funding the project because they're not managing cash flow right. 2, expense management. So that's just controlling, tracking your costs in real time, forecasting proper your spending. You're not doing wasteful spending. And number 3 is business acumen. So that's all the business principles, financial literacy, analytical skills needed to make decisions, make sound, informed decisions, and manage your risk. And that brings us to number 7.
I'm trying to find my freaking book. I told you I was going to ask you my questions, and I can't find it. But yeah, take us the final one, huh?
Yeah, the final one, the business developer.
That's me.
Yeah, that's you, man. This is you.
This is the only one I scored.
Your strength.
This is the only one I scored points in. I want to take the assessment too right now. Carry on.
This is my weakest. This is my weakest one, and it's something I'm continuing to work on. But this is the business developer. So this is who you can imagine: the sales guy, that charismatic natural relationship builder. So 3 core pillars. Number 1 is depth. Depth is the difference maker. They're not doing the classic transactional relationships. Hey, we're in a transaction here. It's just, let's just do business, keep it surface level. We don't need to go deeper than that. Depth is the ability to build deep, meaningful relationships with your clients, your suppliers, with your partners, all throughout your ecosystem of your business, right? Owners, GCs, architects, engineers, vendors, delivery, trucking companies, all the people that you use for your business. Number 2 is strategic positioning. So they know how to position themselves in the market, staying ahead of market trends, and the ability to spot a new opportunity. Ooh, let's move that way. Let's go this way. So that's strategic positioning. And number 3 is earned reputation. Earned reputation is gaining respect through consistent delivery, just doing what you said you're going to do, doing it ethically and making a story out of it. So earning your reputation just through delivering. And so what you'll find is great project managers are actually great business developers too. They manage a project in such a way and build relationships in such a way that the owner or the client is asking, when are we going to do this again? When's the next one? I got this other project. I got this other one right here. I want to work with you again. That was fun. That's the business developer.
All right, so 2 questions as I listened to that. So, and I'm a bad listener, and obviously, so I got distracted. So I apologize. I didn't mean to be rude, but I had some questions lined up for you, and if I didn't find them, it's the ADD brain gets really upset when it loses its own shit. So I was, but we found it. We recovered it. I don't know where the heck I saved it, but I found it. But so ADD got the best of me. 2 things I wanted to listen for that I didn't listen for. Or they're embedded and it wasn't like, it just didn't pull out straight for me. So when I think of project management, I think of planning, right? That's like my first thing is like foresight, right? Like an effective plan, like what's coming before it's coming. What archetype does that fall into?
That's probably a mix of the communicator and the builder.
Cool. And then interesting enough, like I think something else that kind of crosses lines, like I've got salesmen that can't negotiate. I've got project managers that can't negotiate. Like I think negotiation is everything. That's obviously something that and so where do you see that kind of like the ability for one to negotiate effectively, right? Everybody, I feel like to the audience, like the non-salesperson, you hear negotiation and everybody thinks of haggling with the used car dealer. That's what everybody thinks of. But negotiation is positioning, right? Is like, anyway, if I'm on your job and I need more money, like I'm in a hard way because it's, let's say it's your screw up or the owner screw up. And you got to eat it and I got to eat it. So I got to figure out how to position this thing so Kyle feels good about it and I feel good about it, right? And that's just like, to me, that's the art of the deal. Negotiation is like lose a little to get a little, be long-term oriented. Anyway, where do you see that? How do you see that baking in?
That's the attorney. If you're in a spot where you need money, you need to negotiate your way to win a change order that you're owed. You need to come up with the facts through building your case, which is often going to your contract, and be able to communicate it. So it's a mix of, it'd be a mix. You're going to lean into some attorney skills to hopefully make sure you have a case. Then you're going to lean into your communicator skills, to make sure that you can communicate and get through to that person. And you might need to leverage some relationship skills, which might be found in your business developer skill set. So you kind of might need to use a few of them, but ultimately negotiation really falls under the attorney.
Got it. That's super interesting. And I obviously you wrote the book, so I got to read it before. But I'm like, if you're negotiating with Kyle, you better take an attorney stance. If you're negotiating with me, you better take a relationship stance. Like as soon as somebody brings up the contract, I either punch them in the face or they're not getting what they want. Like it's like, fuck you. Don't you bring up that piece of paper to me. We're not there yet. Like we're boys. We're on the same team. Like can't stand it. But that's different.
And 100% agree. I'm going to take the relationship route first. And then if I need to, then go to the other route. But it doesn't often go that way. Yeah. But you need to just, if you know your contract and the agreement, then you can actually have a foundation to actually go and pull the relationship card, but you need to know your rights.
All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to talk about for the book, the process? I mean, I guess I'm curious, kind of the origin. Yeah, let's spend some time just on the Kyle Nitchen brand. Do you mind just kind of digging into that? So we did your origin story last time we chatted, kind of. So you come out of school, you're working for Leighton, and then obviously I'm assuming there's a series of observations that are leading you to see a deficiency within our space. Like, talk me through the day you first thought about this and what you thought about, and then how when do you launch the newsletter? And I don't know. I really don't even know how long you've been working on this. So just tell us about. And I think just everybody's going to call Kevin Kyle's fanboy, but it's true. I think it's great. I think we need more of it. So tell us all about it.
Yeah, when I first got in, I've always wanted to be very successful, just driven in that way. So when I got into the business, I started figuring out how do I get good at this? I want to be the best, and I started looking around in my environment, noticed people that had a lot of respect. I noticed people who didn't have a lot of respect, and I try to figure out why is this person more valuable than this person in the game, in what we're doing? Why is the owner always go to this person and not going to that person for their questions? And think who's the most valuable person in this environment? And it was people that I saw that had these behaviors. I figured out, why is the person that's in the field all the time the most valuable? Like, Eric, let me tell you a story. So my first mentor was the project executive over a massive project that we were on, building some hotels in South Beach, Miami. And I noticed that this guy was he was the man, because he knew everything, all the answers, and he led the whole entire team. But I noticed he spent no time in the office, and he wasn't he spent like 90% of his time in the field. And I was like, well, why is he doing that?
Really quick, just for the people like us, I'm ignorant and I'm in the space. So I'm going to assume that at least 1 out of 10 are like me. So we're building a big hotel. How do you measure big hotel? How big is your team? How big is the build? I'm assuming a lot of our audience is going to be guys that build like $500,000 houses, maybe on the big side, or, people that are doing $500,000 worth of landscape in a year, whatever. So for those of us that don't know, and I'm squarely in this camp in the industrial space. So we build a big hotel, just a rough guess. How big is that for revenue? How many people are how many subs? How many?
Okay. Yes. This was $100 million project. Okay. Across 3 buildings. Okay. A parking garage, a retail place, and a hotel / performing arts center. Beautiful, right on the ocean. So $100 million, probably, peak, but 200 to 300 people on site every day. The management team was probably fluctuating from 15 to 20 people.
Okay. So when you say, that's Leighton, is that your total Leighton staff? Or when you say management, that's just, okay, Leighton. And so just if we have 200 to 300, let's say 200, like you guys have 1 to 10. You've got 10 subs, 10 sub personnel per one, somewhere in there per Leighton. Got it. And then you're sitting as what is your seat?
Oh, I was the bottom at this time. This was my first job. I was a project engineer. I was the bottom of the bottom.
And then this guy is the project exec. Can we pump him up, or he wouldn't want to be named?
Yeah, no, let's not name.
Okay, he's your mentor. You don't want to give away all your secrets.
Yeah.
He's never going to.
We're not telling it.
He's never going to come on the pod, huh? Okay. Can we know what
the
hotel is?
He may come on the pod. That'd be fun. Yeah, it was the Fine Arts Center in South Beach, Miami.
See, I think it'd be a really cool segment for us to go and tour some job sites as they're being built and some recent builds, and like also do the whole like, hey,
Ooh, that'd be sick.
here's what the ground looked like before we built this. Like this is what it took, and then like the blueprints and all this shit. Anyway, so Fine Arts
That'd
Center.
be cool.
All right, I'll carry on. So you're telling a story about your mentor, thou who shall not be named. Just let the mentor know that I'm coming for him. He's going to be on this pod one day.
Yeah, he is. We got to get him on. We got to. So, anyways, I noticed right away that he was probably he had a lot of obviously paperwork and office stuff to do, but he spent most of his time in the field. And I was just very curious about that. It led me to figure out later that common thing in project management is to get confused that your job is to do emails and to do change orders and reports. But that is kind of your job, but that's not what you get paid to do. We get, the way we make money is to put work in place, right? We put work in place. So if you're not putting work in place, you're not doing the main thing. The change orders, the emails, the reports, that's all in support of the main thing. If I don't get paid for every change order I send over, right? I get paid to make sure that the concrete gets poured efficiently, and we can then stack walls on it, and then we can put plumbing in those walls, and then we can close those walls, and then we can eventually hand the keys over, right? So if anything's not, the project managers and the leaders that gravitate towards that can do the main thing really well, become extremely valuable, right? That was something I picked up early on. And that's what kind of led me to basically go search and find out best practices, study leadership, study how to communicate with people, study how to become a builder. And that's what eventually boiled up and led to the Influential Project Manager, which is the brand and newsletter that I created. And that eventually became, after 10 years of this, that whole 10-year, all that work and projects that I've done in those 10 years, those best practices became the foundation of the book that I wrote. No Bullshit Project.
When did you start? How long did it take? I'm just curious about the process. How long did it take to write? Is that like over a year? Like I know you're 10 years of experience, but when you sat down and said, all right, I'm going to write a book.
So I did it in a very lean way. That when I started writing the Influential Project Manager newsletter, I actually started writing the book on a weekly basis. So all those newsletters eventually got compiled and became the book. That was my writing process.
On purpose?
Right.
Was that
on purpose?
Yeah, okay. And when was your first newsletter?
It was in 2022, the end of 2022.
It's okay. I'm a relationship guy. 2022 and 2021 are the same to me. I don't know. I can't count that high. I'm not an accountant.
Yeah, it's 2022. End of it.
How long did it? And I don't know. I don't want to give away your secrets here, but how long did it take to get traction? Where you're like, how long will you write newsletters to your friends and family? Like,
yeah.
What would you say?
No, I would say it didn't build real traction until probably a year.
Okay, 2020.
I did it for a solid year with very minimal traction, and I was getting enough traction to hear and feel that, okay, I'm on the right path here. Like there's something here, but it wasn't like I didn't get my first 1,000 subscribers till like a year later, right?
Yeah.
And then it started getting like a lot more traction.
Yeah.
Started doubling down on certain things.
I just think like it's the story of entrepreneurialism. Like I didn't know how long it took, but I knew it wasn't an overnight success because it just doesn't happen that way. It's like there had to be at least a few times where you're like, why am I still writing this thing? Like, you go into the cell, like, why is this going to work or whatever? So I think a year is pretty quick.
Oh, no. But you're right. This is the classic entrepreneurial story because it even goes deeper than that.
Take me to the depth.
I guess to even get to the Influential Project Manager point, that was a pivot from many years before. So I wrote my first blog post probably in 2016.
There we go.
That's when I started actually blogging. Okay. So I've had probably 3 or 4 podcasts since then. I've been on the content creation journey for about a decade.
Thank gosh. I was like, man, it's fun. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I was like, damn, 1 year is fast. Like it was a 10-year struggle for me. Carry on though.
No. So, but it took me 1 year to find the influential I mean, it took 10 years of writing under me, just Kyle Nitchen, to connect enough dots to figure out, okay, the influential project manager is the play. And then it took another year of writing the influential project manager. So there was kind of an evolution there.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I don't know if it's appropriate on the recording, but I think there's just, so my thing is like, we got to get to leadership. And I don't know, it'll be interesting. I almost think it's all got to come. I don't know if we need two separate community, and this is more business planning, but the whole time you were talking, what was running through my head is Elevate Construction. Like we are Elevate Construction, and because I think, man, everything you wrote is great. I think foundational training for being managers, project managers, like you can't find it. How do I know? It's because I don't know. I can't get it from my people. Like I know I'm looking for it, and like you can find, because there's just not a lot of it, right? Most of our industry, everybody started with a hammer and never really let go of the hammer, and then they retire or whatever. So I just think there's so many foundational things that we should focus on. But primarily, like when you're speaking, I was like, we have to get to leadership, because I don't think, and I'm going to get to my questions here in a minute, but like nobody even takes the time to define what good leadership is, much less teach it. Like it's nowhere, you can't find it. Like I went to the military, I learned a little bit, but yeah, so I don't want to get on my rant, but yeah, kudos to you is all I'd say. Kudos to you. I think we need more of it. I think we need to make it more prominent. And I mean, we've got a huge, I don't know what they're calling it, but we've got a huge talent vacancy coming up here, and particularly in the trades, right? Like we're going to be, you and I are kind of the first of the younger generation, as we're watching the last of the older generation that generationally, like training wise, millennials and Xers, or Ys and Zs, is not something that happens. So I think we have a little bit of an obligation here too for the wellness of our builders, to really fill that gap. So
I think so. On that note, what are a couple of things that you would tell new leaders to come to kind of get leadership started off on the right foot?
Yeah, I hope it'd be fun to co-author that book with you. But I think similar to your approach there is like, what kind of leader are you, and what kind of leader are you going to be, and like how do you want to show up, and what's your job, right? I think you go through the 7 archetypes of a project manager, and I think there's probably another 7. There's different leaders. You know, there's the manager, there's the charmer, there's all that. We could go through the same exercise, and I'm not equipped to do it.
Yeah, the visionary.
Yep. Yeah. So for me, I think it's at the end of the day, what is your job as a leader? Right? Kind of what you were talking about. And like I think you summarized it in the project management world, but like, I'll give it to you. I'm going to ask you, because it's one of my key questions. So is like, what is your definition of leadership? And I would ask you that. I have mine. So before I'm going to let you ponder that. And then I think there's traits. Every good leader should embody. Humility comes to mind first. Like total accountability is there. I think if you're not empathetic, like you're screwed. Like if you can't see others where they meet them where they are. So that's kind of, I'm going around the answer that you want. So do you have a leadership definition? And this is what's interesting. Was Hitler a good leader? Depending on your definition, you'd have to say yes. Like, maybe you say no. He was an evil dude, right? Oh my God, I'm going to get our whole show canceled with that, huh? But like, he was an effective strategist. He was an effective galvanizer. He had charisma, and so depending on how you define leadership, like, I mean, he was an effective leader. Right?
Yeah.
Evil.
It is.
Terrible human. But
my general definition is, getting a leader gets things, accomplishes a mission through other people. So that's what a leader does by definition. So yeah, I guess now you got to define, what are you leading and how are you leading it? What are you trying to accomplish? What's the mission? So Hitler, if we're on that example, had a different mission. Did he accomplish it? He may have accomplished his mission, right? Now, pick a different mission, obviously. Yeah, that's what it is accomplishing a mission with a group of people. And effective leaders do it and ineffective leaders fail. And performance matters. Absolutely. Performance counts. If you don't accomplish the mission, you are not a great leader, period, because you're not leading. One way I like to think about it, and one quote that kind of paints the picture that I strive for, especially in the project management world, is build a team so strong that you don't know who the boss is. So I love that of leadership. I love empowering others, lifting people up, transferring ownership to them. I'm the farthest thing from a micromanager. I like to give people roles, responsibilities, help them discuss how they're going to do it. In fact, I rather them tell me the way that they're going to do it. I don't want to be the one telling them how to do things, because then that's just not giving them ownership. If they own the plan, if they own it, they're going to be way more successful at executing that plan than if it were to be my plan saying it, doing it, do it this way. I love that. That's what I strive for, and that's what the best leaders I've seen. You can't on their teams, you can't even tell who the boss is because they've built people up so strong. It's like any one of these guys could easily be the boss.
It's interesting. So my first book that I wrote is all about RPRS, like right people, right seats, like being able to terminate to win. Like there's like that's part of that team building that nobody talks about. But I totally agree. So let me run my stock.
Wait. You wrote a book?
It's not. I've written it. I've edited it in ChatGPT, and then I got a little bit of an imposter syndrome. Like quite honestly, I'm like, I don't want to be, I don't want to be an influencer. I enjoy that I get to talk to you, quite honestly. Like you're the influencer. I'm just the guy that was like dragged you in here so I could use your audience to start getting stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like not a podcaster. I'm not an author. Like I'm a builder. At the end of the day, I'm a builder. I got 80 businesses I want to get to. So, but I think it's important because I got shit to say. So yes, I've written it. I haven't figured out how to publish it. But that's the next step. So hopefully in the next, I don't know, month or two,
let's get it out there.
Yeah, I got it.
Have you ever heard of the spotlight effect? Is it the spotlight effect
that's new to me?
Is getting you?
No, what's that?
You worried about what people think?
No, it's funny. I would have, and I think most that know me, like if you were to ask any of my people, it's like, does Kevin care what people think? They'd probably like expletive no, right? And it's not. Oh man, we're gonna be doing a little therapy on our second podcast. No, it's less about things that I hate in the world are frauds, and I never. It's like, and so there's a level of me that doesn't like. I think this is what I'll say. You're a badass project manager. If you wrote a book about like wealth management, let's say like you're super wealthy and then you read a book about being wealthy. I don't know. This is a bad example. Like there's a lot of people that are good at one thing and then go advertise themselves as something else and then go sell a book to people on a false hope that like doesn't help people. And like I take great issue with that. If you're saying you're going, and we talked about this. Yeah. So I'm very concerned with making sure I do this right and I don't do this wrong because I think money corrupts and power corrupts absolutely. And I think a lot of people get into this going like, I got to sell a book. And I'm like, no. I got to make sure I write a book that is worth buying. And I got to be somebody that is like that my crap is good enough that like people, I don't want to trick anybody into reading a book unless it's going to help them. So but to your point, it's not that I care what people think. It's like, there's a certain subset of celebrities and people that are well-known that have social proof that like, I'm coming for them and I'm going to get them on a podcast and I'm going to expose them. And I just want to make sure that I don't accidentally become them first. So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there
Let's
you
get
go.
him on the pod.
You got, yeah. If you're, hear me loudly. If you're a freaking fraudulent person pretending to help people and ripping people off, I am coming for you. I'm coming for you. All right. So I've got, and I'm sorry, I don't want to deflect because I'm going to answer these questions too, but you were getting ready to ask me. So I'm going to try to ask all of our guests a series of questions. So first thing is leadership definition. I want to make sure I got that right. Accomplishes the mission through other people. What would be your traits, the key traits that a good leader should embody?
Extreme ownership, extreme competitive determination. So let's see, humility. Humility is huge. It's an honor to be in a leadership position. It's an absolute honor. And if you're going to disrespect that, and no, just don't. Putting yourself, we've already talked about this one, putting the team above yourself, putting the mission above your own ego, keeping your ego in check. Yeah. Let's see. Don't act like you know everything, because you don't.
Favorite part of the construction industry? If you had to pick one piece, like what do you love most about it?
It's a team sport. Construction's a team sport. I love it. I love leadership. I love teams. I love building things people need and notice.
And I might know the answer to this, and we've covered it, but if you could just change one thing, if you could snap your magic wand, you're god of the industry for one day, you could fix one problem in construction, where would you?
I don't know the fix, but I would do something to de-silo the industry. It's a systemic problem, but I don't know quite how to fix that or what I would do, but I would do something to where like we weren't so siloed, as in across organizations. So that's yeah.
When you say de-silo, I'm sure you're not talking about one facet, but the biggest silos, if you could go attack the silos, are you talking like owner, design, GC, sub, those silos? Or
Yeah, I'm talking about those, and I'm specifically talking about how each of those, when we all get together to do a project, we all have misaligned interests. So like, the owner has a best interest, the GC has a best interest, the subs has a best interest, and the architects. And sometimes we lose sight that we're all working on the same project with the same goal, but there's all these internal incentives in there that don't really allow us to fully collaborate as best as we could,
Okay. Yeah, we're agree. I think we, and honestly, dude, like, I think we can have an effect on that. Okay. Those are my standard questions. And then the kicker is like, tell me about the toughest season of your life, if you're willing to be vulnerable. Like, what was the most, when you think of perseverance in your story, you might already hit on it.
I would say there was a couple things that, let's see, perseverance.
You also can say this isn't, like, if there's a story you don't want to tell, we can go to one that you do want to tell.
There's one that I don't want to tell, but we can go to one, that I do want to tell.
There you go.
And it's not like, I don't know if it's too inspiring. It's just doing hard things, right? It's just getting through hard stuff. So I'd say like every day, and I think a lot of people probably experience this, is like when you have the perfect storm happening in your life where you're on a career changing project that's very tough, challenging, but also at the same time, you get through that. It's going to be one that's going to change your career because you're going to level up through it. But also at the same time, I've had things going on in my family and personal life where we, get my wife getting pregnant with our first son, going through that process, at the same time, going through different other shifts in the family, the personal stuff. And when these things all happen all at once, it's like that can be a dark time, right? There's so much change, both in all areas of your life, the career, financially, socially, with your relationships. With all these things happen all at once, as kind of they tend to do sometimes, it's just putting your head down and getting through it. I don't have anything inspiring to do because it's the answer that no one wants to hear, is like, it's painful and sometimes you got to do painful things. And on the other side of pain is endless opportunity. So just get through it.
I'm after whatever story you didn't want to tell. I'm going to put like some sort of download quota. If we hit it, we're going to, because I have two that I don't want to tell. My almost bankrupt story, and then my personal bankrupt story. And I'm big on authenticity. So I think it'd be cool to like let it all hang out. But if we don't get an audience worthy of size, so I'm like, we're going to leave a cliffhanger in there. I'm not airing out my dirty laundry unless everybody wants to hear about it. But so let me answer. I'm going to answer the stock questions, and then you get a kicker question. So that last one was the kicker question, like your toughest season of life. So I'll let you ask me anything, and we'll see where I take it. But so stock question, and I'm going to try to do this with every guest. This will just be the opening, is like, and I'm going to prime them so they can think about it coming in. But like my leadership definition is creating an environment where the team can succeed. Like I think that's our job, is just to create an environment where the people underneath us or aside of us can be successful. The important traits to me: humility, compassion, grit, accountability, and agility. I think everything you said like could probably marry out to, I think we were pretty close on that. Your favorite part of the construction industry was team sport. For me, just endless opportunity. I just think it is such a blue sky. Like you don't think of it that way, but I just get so excited for those that don't want to go to college, that want to get into the trades. I said that last, but I just think, and business owners, you can go build a tech company, but why don't you go build a construction company? Like it is not inconceivable to build a couple $100 million construction company. So I think it's a land of vast opportunity. What I would change, I'm so close with you on that misalignment is huge. That would be my second. I just think the perception. I think the perception is a problem. I think there's the degradation of the dignity and respect across the trades is a problem to me. I think I just think of how people turn their nose up at me when I was going to college and kind of come and do this. So that's my number one problem. I want to make it like, and I think it's coming. I don't even think we have to fix it. I think it's coming. It's like I think adults are now saying, don't go to college, go to the trades. And I'm like, yeah, should have been saying that when we were kids. But those are the stock questions. Kicker is yours if you want to take it.
All right, kicker time. Here you go. What do you want your construction legacy to be?
I'm big on legacy. Let's see. What do I want to be in construct? I want to have. It's hard. I think I've shared this. The trades are step one for me. I'm very much like I want my impact, and I'm all about impact statements. Like, what is your legacy? And like one of the most important to me is being a man of the middle. So I think we may have said this in the last one, but I could build a business that's going to provide me a jet or two. I could build a business that's going to provide me a yacht. But like, who's on my yacht with me? Like who? Like the rising tide lifts all boats. Like it took me a really long time to get to a place where like even my teammates, the people that I was trying to take care of, my foreman, my helpers, the guys that are out there digging post holes, could receive my appreciation of them. And if I can do one thing, I want to make it normal to see a more, I don't like the word, nothing is fair. I don't want to say nothing is fair, but a more equal distribution of wealth and plunder across the spectrum. Like I think there's just too much. The owners generally take on a whole crap load of risk. I think there's too much risk. I think we need to make that easier. I think we need to make it easier for business owners to get into business and be successful. What is it? 90% fail? Like fix that problem so that when they do have catastrophic success, it's easier for them to want to bring others with them. So yeah, if my legacy was anything, I on the headstone, it should say a man for the blue collar middle. Like that's my game.
Yeah, I love what that dude's doing. I've been a fanboy for a while. I would subscribe again to his newsletter. Check out his book, 7 Archetypes. I hope you guys got some value. If not, fill out the survey. Let us know we sucked. If we sucked, we'll do better. If we did well, you should like it. You should share it with your friends. You should help us build a community. And we appreciate your support. So as always, keep building better, stay curious, and we'll chat with you next time. Thanks for listening.